Today we are going to be milking our entire herd of dairy goats. First, we're going to have to go set up the dairy. Well, it's a whole lot cooler in here. First thing we got to do is get our dairy equipment set up. That means that there's going to be quite a bit of noise because we have a vacuum pump that actually draws the milk out of the goats in a similar manner as to if they were being nursed on by a baby goat. So we're going to clean and prep all of our equipment and get it ready so that the goats spend a minimal amount of time outside in the holding stalls, which means a whole lot less poop for us to clean up later. So I'm not going to talk through all of this part because every time that we say anything about chemicals, when we're talking about animals at all, everybody always has a better method. So I'm not going to give you the amount of chemicals that we use to sanitize. I'm not going to do any of that. However, any milk pump that you buy is going to come with instructions that's going to tell you how to clean it and the type of detergents they recommend for their specific brand. We use what we know is safe and what we've been using for almost a decade. So I'm going to go ahead and set up all of my milk pail and rinse everything before, and that's called the pre-rinse. And it's essentially just a chlorine solution to make sure that the equipment is sanitized prior to the raw milk being pumped into the milk pail. Also guys, please remember that this is the milking parlor. This is the only part of the dairy that the goats actually come inside of. So this stand right here looks super orange on camera. It's from the iodine. Everybody always says, why is that goat bleeding? It's not bleeding, it's just the iodine. Please, it stains. Please don't hate us. Comment down below and tell us how to get iodine out of things. This is where the goats wait at to be milked. We'll go get them. They'll all run up here. Now, they're gonna do a lot of pooping while they're in here, so we have a very convenient poop chute right here. And this is actually where we collect all their poop at so that I can use it in plants and in the garden and places like that. Once in here, the goats are gonna be able to walk up this ramp right here and onto the milking stand through this door right here. By opening and closing that door, we can manage how many goats are allowed in. Now, once they get done, they're gonna go through the door at the end and they're gonna walk down this ramp right here, and then here's gonna be the holding stall for all the goats after they're done milking. Now, we are lucky here in the fact that we can actually move our goats pretty easily because they know what's going on. They're coming up here to get fed and get rid of the pressure of that milk in their udder. And then also, I have my handy dandy Freya. Freya has not been trained for anything, but she does help a little bit with herding the goats up here. And it's just because she's such a smart, good dog. So the only goats I want to let out are the goats with yellow collars. Not all the babies and not the ones that are either retired or pregnant. Now we don't want to leave them in here too long because there's so many of them. So we're gonna run inside to get the first 7. And this is gonna be super loud, so we're gonna do a voiceover through part of this just so that you guys can hear and understand what we're doing. But most of this is gonna be time lapse, so you guys don't have to sit here for the full 30 minutes to an hour that it takes to milk all these girls.
We'll go ahead and open up the door to let them come on in, and they're gonna come up 7 at a time, and they stick their heads through what's called a head stanchion. And while they are eating their food is when we get busy behind them with cleaning and milking. So that's why it's important that we have all of our equipment ready prior to bringing them up. So we'll go ahead and start with stripping out their teats And what that is doing is just taking a little bit of milk out prior to connecting the milking line to them. And that's going to help us with any bacteria or dirt that may be embedded in the opening, the orifice of their teat. It's just gonna flush it out. And also it gives us a second to look at their milk and make sure there's no clumpiness or discoloration. And that would just be a sign that there's some kind of mastitis or something going on. Next, once we decide that it's a good goat, we'll go ahead and wash the teats. And again, I use that word a lot. The teat is actually the bottom part of the udder where the milk comes out at. So we go ahead and wash that teat. And I'm just using Dawn, and you get your cloth really, really dry. You don't want to introduce a whole lot of moisture to that area. So we try to wring it out as good as we can. And the Dawn just helps with breaking down any dirt or grease that may have built up. And we'll go ahead and wipe those down really, really well. And I'm not too worried about sanitation at this point or passing germs from one goat to another, because our next step is going to be iodine. And that iodine is going to sanitize any bacteria, kill any germs, viruses, anything that's on there. We leave that iodine on there for 60 seconds. So from the time I put the teat dip on the last goat, we will wait 60 seconds. And once that 60 seconds is up, we'll go ahead and wipe it off. Now, this is a part that I do like to use a new paper towel for every goat. So we do go through quite a few paper towels in the dairy, and I'll go ahead and wipe off the majority of the iodine. There's always going to be some staining left behind, but we'll wipe that off and make sure that the teats don't touch the leg. Now, this is just for a demonstration, so there may be some mistakes that are made here with all the camera equipment hooked up also. This milk's actually going to get pasteurized, but we'll wipe off the iodine. Try not to let the teat touch any leg or hand or anything like that.
Apologies for interrupting your cute animal content, but I hope you'll forgive me once you hear that you can actually meet and stay with the very same cute animals that you're watching right now. That's right, you can stay at our Airbnb on the farm and animal sanctuary. Not only will you be provided with luxury amenities like a hot tub, fancy schmancy coffee, a bidet if you're feeling brave, and remote control everything, but you'll also get to hang out with the 150 plus animals that call Goat Daddy's home, including Abu the camel, Norris the cow, Piper the Quadamundi, the crazy macaws, obviously the goats, and every single animal in between. Check the description to book your stay today. Now back to the video.
And then we'll go ahead and hook up the milking claw. And as you can see, as I'm connecting the milking claws, I'm keeping them at an angle just so that nothing is falling in them. And we treat the inside of those milk claws as sanitary. So they've been pre-rinsed. There's nothing inside of them dirty. It's all been pre-sanitized. So we want to be very, very vigilant and mindful about the inside of those claws. So we'll go ahead and allow the milk machine to draw the milk out. Now this works with, it's called a pulsator, which is going to act as like a baby nursing on the milk. So it's not just a constant suction. If it's just a constant suction, then that actually can become painful to the goat. So this is the same way a baby would nurse, in a pulsating motion. And that pulsating motion keeps the goats calm, and also it makes sure that they're not feeling any displeasantness. Now, if they were actually being nursed by baby goats, they would be getting bumped. The baby goat does what's called bumping to the mother's udder, and that's why I'm stimulating them by massaging the udders. And that's kind of the same thing, just bumping it. The inside of an udder is very similar to like imagine a balloon filled with a bunch of other balloons. And so you want, those balloons are made up of a spongy material, so you're trying to get all that milk to come down to the teat, to the bottom of the udder where the teat is, so that it can get removed, because every 12 hours you really want 100% of the milk to get out. And that just makes sure that our somatic cell count and the amount of bacteria inside of the goats is all low, because getting all that milk out means that their body, their white blood cells, can do their job and keep the inside of the udders nice and clean. So once we're done and there's no more milk, and you can easily feel if there's more milk by palpating and kind of massaging the udder, you can feel that last bit of milk come out, and all those glands start to empty and tell that there's not any more milk in there. We'll go ahead and remove the claws, and we'll go on to the next goat, repeating the exact same step. Once we're done with all 7 goats, you can see I'm using 2 claws here, so I'm going back and forth to 2 separate goats at a time. Once we get done with all 7 goats that are on the stand, we'll go ahead and dip all of the teats in iodine afterwards. And that's just because that orifice, that opening at the end of the teat, will stay open for about 30 minutes after you get done milking. I don't know, that's what they say. So we like to do that so that if the goats decide to go back to their pen and lay down in an area that's not so clean, they have that iodine on there as some added protection to make sure that they stay nice and clean. So we will let the goats off the stand. They'll go back to the outside area, but that outside area is separate from the inside area, as I showed earlier, which means that we don't milk the same goat twice. And then we've got Josh outside who's actually taking them back to the pen in groups of 7 just because it's getting a little bit late in the day. So I'm going to show you guys here. We have 4 different goats. We have a Nubian, which is one of my personal favorites, and they produce about a gallon of milk a day. We have a mini Nubian, which is my absolute 110% what I recommend for any home milker. If you're starting a homestead or anything like that, I recommend the mini Nubian over anything. Personality and health, they are just amazing. And then we've got the Nigerian dwarf goat. The Nigerian dwarf goat, everybody loves them because they're nice and cute and compact. They only produce about a quart of milk a day, which means that you really probably need to be milking 2 or 3 of them at a time. And they also have upwards of 4 to 6 babies every time that they have babies, which means you have to find a home for all of those babies. So I definitely prefer the Nubian and mini Nubian. They have 2 to 3 babies each. And also with a Nigerian, if you look at that teat size and see when I strip them out, it is very hard to hand milk a Nigerian dwarf goat. It takes a very long time. Whereas with Nubians and mini Nubians, you've got nice long teats that are easy to grab and easy to drain that milk out of, essentially. Now, this Nubian, this brown Nubian here, her name is Miranda. She has never nursed her own baby. So she was born on our farm and she has always been milked with a machine. So you can see how her udder and her teats are nice and matching. There's no damage done to them. If you look at Mirabella, she was the first Nubian we ever got on the farm. She actually came to us. She had a horrible case of mastitis, and that caused the unevenness in her udder. So that has led us to have quite a few issues when it comes to milking her. So we actually finish milking her out by hand quite often, and she has to have a little bit of special attention right after she first kids and freshens. So this is actually her last year milking, and then she is going to be retiring because she is about 12 years old. She's one of our older goats, so she'll never get bred again. She's just going to live in the retirement pen with all of our old ladies, having a nice, happy life. Once we get done milking all the goats, we'll go ahead and get our stand cleaned. I like to use Clorox, just bleach and water, and spray that down really well. And obviously, if it gets on any of the food that they've dropped, we throw all that away. We'll go ahead and get our stand good and clean. And then the most important part to keeping milk sanitary is going to get it dumped into the vat, and that's VAT. We dump that into this vat. This vat has a hollow casing and cold water is circulating through that. So this milk will go down to in the low 30s, just above freezing, probably in about 20 to 30 minutes. And we'll keep it at that temperature in this vat for up to 72 hours. Typically it's every other day that we're either bottling or pasteurizing milk. And then we'll go ahead and start cleaning our machinery. Getting everything cleaned is a very important part, not just the pre-rinse and the pre-sanitation, but also making sure that the cleaning is done correctly. So we use 3 different parts here. First, we run that first pre-rinse solution through, and that's just at room temperature, just to make sure that there's no milk left in the system. And so that'll flush all the milk out. And then we use our super hot scalding water. It's somewhere around 180 degrees. And that's mixed with Dawn and Clorox. And that goes through and is cleaning and sanitizing every surface on the milker. And we'll run that through 2 times. And lastly, we'll do our leave-on sanitizer. This pink solution that we use here is a leave-on sanitizer, and it's one that's made for restaurants and dairies. And you can leave this on and it actually makes the surface of the equipment so that it's not an inhabitable environment for bacteria and viruses. sources. So that just kind of helps keep it clean. And then we hang everything. You never want to dry anything. Always lets things air dry. If there is just a little bit of bacteria left on there, you don't want to dry it with a paper towel and you're actually smearing the bacteria to cover more area. So we have specially designed hangers for all of our milking equipment so that it can drip dry slowly. And then this is also in a room that flies can't get into, gnats can't get into, and it stays nice and sterile in here. And then as you saw at the beginning of the video, before we set up next time, which will be in 12 hours, we will do a pre-rinse on it with another chlorine solution just to make sure that it's nice and clean and ready to be milked.
All right, guys, so finally we are done milking our herd of goats, and the milk is safely in our pasteurization vat. There is a few things that I forgot to mention prior to doing any of this. You're gonna wanna check with your local state laws because raw goat's milk is illegal in most states. We are luckily in a state where the raw milk is legal. We'll use tonight's milking to pasteurize for cheese, which will be done using equipment that we purchased from Micro Dairy Designs. They're an absolutely amazing, very small dairy business that actually came down and trained us how to use all of this equipment and install all of this equipment. We've got our chart reader up here that helps us with pasteurization. This is our vat that not only keeps the milk cold, but it also allows us to heat the milk up for pasteurization. And this is a cooling tank that's actually filled with very cold water that helps us cool the milk to around 36 degrees in about 20 minutes, which is absolutely awesome. If you hear the noise of that motor running, that is our paddle that's keeping the milk circulating because our milk is also non-homogenized, which means the fat rises to the top. Now, if you enjoyed today's video, even a little bit, please, if you like anything, even like the goats, if there was anything at all in tonight's video, yeah, I said at night because we're out here after dark. If you liked anything, the way I showed some leg, or anything at all, click the like button and subscribe to us. It really helps a lot. Comment down below. You guys really showed up and showed out with some of our videos lately, and we have really appreciated your support. So please smash that like button, subscribe to our page, and comment down below and let us know what content you want to see, because it really does help. You guys still haven't liked or subscribed. Like and subscribe. Comment down below. Goat you later. Bye!